According to Mind, 1 in 4 will experience a mental health problem of some kind each year in England. 1 in 6 people report experiencing a common mental health problem, like anxiety and depression, in any given week in England. Approximately only 1 in 3 adults with a common mental health problem are currently getting treatment in the form of talking therapies, medication, or both. Since the 2020 pandemic, poor mental health has been on the rise. ELF provide a wide range of mental health, community health, primary care, well-being and inpatient services to young people, working age adults and older adults across the City of London, Hackney, Newham, Tower Hamlets, Bedfordshire and Luton. We would like to introduce you to Rob and his mental health journey. In ELF, we care for people like Rob. We constantly fight against the stigma around many mental health conditions, and many aren't able to get the help they need. It is important to recognize the person and their needs more than the diagnosis. Welcome to Rob's story.
Hi, I'm Rob. I'm married to Tracy. I've got 4 lovely daughters, been married for 32 years, and very happily married, very supportive family. I've been a delivery driver really for the last 10 years. Really enjoyed that chance of freedom, choice of freedom. That's really important to me. The idea of having a job and get paid and enjoy it is really valuable. And I think I have a lot to offer that particular role, and they are very happy with me as an employee. I think we all suffer a little bit from mental health problems. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Because I did get a diagnosis from the doctors and the psychiatric nurse. Kind of believed it, but I don't think it's the whole answer. I think for me, I'd like to look at other ways to managing my health, and I'm not that keen on chemicals and medications and this sort of thing, but I'll take it. But I think it's not exactly everything I should be doing. I think there's other things I reckon I can do, like yoga perhaps, or relaxation, and other aspects other than just taking drugs.
I'm Tracy. I'm Rob's wife. We've been together for about 34 years. Gosh, what can I say? We've got 4 daughters. We've got Sarah and Anna and Charlotte and Chloe. Rob's such a lovely person. He's a really caring husband and he's so family orientated. He adores our kids. We're a close-knit family. Sarah and Anna have finished their studies now. They've been to university and they're in full-time employment. Charlotte's in university and Chloe's doing her A-levels at the moment. Rob loves to occupy himself with things. He's always out in the garden, knee-deep in a load of mud. And he likes cooking to a certain extent. However, I'd rather he didn't do that because he really makes a mess. He's friendly, he's outgoing, and he's a confident person. Normally, got a really good sense of humour. Rob first became unwell after the birth of our oldest daughter, Sarah. She's 30 now. She was only a few months old when Rob was first admitted to a mental health hospital. Sarah's birth was really traumatic. It was really bad for me, but also Rob took it really, really hard. She was premature and she was in a special care baby unit for quite a number of weeks. And I don't know whether it was the stress of all of that pushed him to the edge. It was really upsetting and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn. I was a new mother with a baby who'd been really poorly and I had no steady income because Rob was the main breadwinner. I remember him having sleepless nights, and that wasn't just Sarah keeping us up when she came home from hospital. He ended up doing a lot at home, and he had a lot of stress from work as well. He was working in a bank and his boss wasn't very supportive. He brought stress from work to home, and we ended up having arguments which we'd never done before, and I knew at that time that something wasn't quite right with Rob. One day, as usual, Rob left to go to work. Been the same as always, really sleepless nights. But about 3 o'clock in that afternoon, I remember getting a phone call from a social worker to say that Rob had been sectioned and had been admitted to a hospital. I didn't really understand. I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know what to do or who to reach out to. But I spoke to my family and to Rob's family, and they both came together and they were really, really supportive. I can't be more thankful to them, because at that time I don't know what I would have done with baby Sarah and Rob in hospital. He was in hospital for nearly 2 months. He came back normal. He'd lost his job at the bank, but do you know what? That's not the end of the world, because it was giving him so much stress, and we both thought that was a bit of a blessing, really. He stayed well on the medication and talking to people for a number of years. He ended up in hospital a few times because he gets this tendency to want to experiment to prove that he doesn't need the medication. But if I see that he's not taking the medication, then I ask him and I remind him about it. He can be a bit naughty sometimes. He tells lies and tells me that he has been taking it, but I don't think he has. I only see him taking his insulin and not his medication. Sometimes I can't remember when he goes to get his monthly injection as well. But I can see when things aren't going well, and when he tries to avoid conversations about his health, and that's when I know that things are going downhill. One of the signs that he's not doing well is that he gets slightly short-tempered and he can get a bit bolshy. He gets overconfident and he tries to focus on healthy eating and doing loads and loads of exercise, more than he normally does. He starts talking about his health and his well-being and self-management, etc. And he starts to talk about managing his health without input from any of the professionals and his mental health team or any of his medication. You can see a change in Rob when he starts to become unwell. And it's not nice to see. Rob started this sort of conversation last week. We know it's a trigger that something's not right. He's getting really irritable towards me. When I ask him about his medication and seeing his mental health team, he's been shouting at me. And it's not only me that he gets annoyed with either, it's the girls. Last night Chloe and Anna were watching the television, some really interesting programme about polar bears or something. Well, they found it interesting. But Rob was really mean to them and he asked them to turn it off. He wouldn't do that normally, you see. But in the end I had to step in and I asked the girls to turn it down so that everybody was happy. I know kids recognise that Rob's not 100%, but it upsets them when he behaves like this. I'm caught in the middle, trying to keep the peace, trying to keep everybody happy, and it's really hard. It's not easy to be in that position. Rob gets annoyed by little things and then he takes it out on me. Sometimes he recognises this and he's really sad and he's very apologetic and emotional, but it's still really hard.
Rob's my dad and he's an amazing dad. He helped me move house. He's always there for me when I need him, just a phone call away. Helps with refurbishing the house and in the shower and etc. So he's been fantastic. Mum and Dad, they both have boys, which is brilliant. He's a fantastic granddad as well. He's a really happy-go-lucky kind of guy. He's a bit of a joker. He goes down to the pub every Wednesday to play skittles with his mates. But when he's poorly, you can sort of see the signs, and Mum will say odd things, and you just know. Like, he'll stop going down the pub every Wednesday, and he's slower to reply to messages and things like that. You just pick up on it, really. But I get really worried when he's like this. He's the one that tends to do a bit more of the shopping, and there'll be like no milk in the fridge, etc. I get really concerned because last time this happened, he ended up being an emergency, and then he was admitted to hospital, and then he was sectioned, and it was really stressful for everyone involved. Yeah, it's just horrible to see him that way. Obviously, between me and my sisters and my mum, we try to visit him, but it does put additional pressure on everyone. And I know it sounds selfish. Between us, you know, I've got kids to pick up, I've got work, and I really don't. It's terrible to say it, but I really don't like seeing him that way. He's really withdrawn. He doesn't want to talk. He's not that happy guy anymore. I really hate it when he gets sectioned. Like last time, he was in hospital for a good 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer. And it takes him almost twice as long, if not longer, to recover as well at home. It's always nice to see that, like, he'll go to the pub again and start playing skittles, but it's not good. I just hope that when he starts to show signs of deterioration, that they pick up on it earlier, and he will seek the help that he needs, because it's just, I can't explain it. It's just a horrible impact it has on everybody. Yeah. And the kids, they ask after him, and it breaks my heart because they ask, and I don't know what to say. Like, yes, I say Granddad's in hospital, but they want to go and see him, and mental health ward is not really the kind of place I want to take the young children, to be honest. And he wants to see them as well, and I have to wait until he comes home. Yeah, I just hope we can sort him out and get him well before that he ends up being sectioned or ends up being admitted.
The way he is at the minute, he wants to do a lot, and he wants to occupy himself. So he's out in the garden for all hours. He's out on his cycle, exercising. And he's starting to ignore us. And it's a warning sign to me. It's telling me that something's not quite right with Rob. He's trying to overdo things. He's a delivery driver at the moment, and I do worry about him. I worry that when he's behind the wheel of the lorry, that he could get involved in an accident. He doesn't like the fact that he shouldn't be working. Last time, when he was poorly, some of our friends told us that Rob was driving really recklessly. But I couldn't stop him because he won't listen to me, and he just gets so annoyed with me. I felt helpless. I needed to make sure that he was safe and that everybody else was safe as well. In the end, I contacted his boss and asked him to stop him driving, which he did. Rob didn't like it at all, and we got in a huge argument, and he didn't talk to me for weeks. I really, really hope that that doesn't end up happening again, because it was horrible atmosphere in the home, and I don't like falling out with him because I love him. It's a huge worry for me, and it's really stressful. Rob's beginning to show signs of how he was the last time. This time I hope that someone from his mental health team would get in contact, and that they'll see Rob quickly, and that they can tell him not to drive, because then hopefully he won't have an accident. I'm trying to get the attention of the team. I'm trying to juggle things around my work as well. I work at Tesco's on the checkout. Charlotte's going back to university next week, and I need to drive her to Manchester to sort things out. Rob won't be able to do this, not in the state he's in. It's just too far and just too dangerous. But I'm worried that all this stress and all this worry is just going to give him extra pressure.
Yeah, I find these medications they've given me really, makes me, has put a bit of weight on, if I'm honest. I'm diabetic, and that doesn't help. I found medications perhaps maybe you feel a bit more hungry, and I've been eating a bit more, you probably can tell, and that's not helpful for my health. I know that's not right. I need to do something about that. I can take control of that. I don't need these doctors and nurses to tell me. I don't think they've taken that seriously either. I've kind of said my medication's making me feel more hungry, and I've eaten a bit more and whatever, and I put weight on, but they don't seem to be that bothered. So I thought, well, I'd take a bit of control of myself and start doing something about that, perhaps exercising a bit more. I'm worried about my diabetes, definitely. That's something which has been troubling me, and my blood sugar's been all over the place, and so I need to do something about that. I'll do something about that. But really, it has been stressful at work, and maybe I've been eating a bit too much in that, bit of comfort eating or whatever, and weight's gone up a bit. But and we've got staff, short staff sometimes. I work a little bit harder than perhaps I need to, but I want to. But I enjoy the job. I think it's good. Mostly okay at home, but quite hunky-dory really. We've got a supportive family, 4 children. They're a bit of a handful, but actually my wife and I, Tracy, get on really well, support each other, and she's been really understanding about my health, and she wants me a bit fitter and healthier, and I want to be a bit healthier for her as well and the family. So for me, I think it's I'll take the help when I think it's okay, but I reckon I can do without a lot of chemicals and medicines and this sort of thing. I'll take a bit of pinch of salt. Well, that's me. I think it'll be fine.
Hopefully, the mental health team will get their act together, and they'll see Rob really soon. I'm trying to get their attention. It's just not easy. What do you say to them to get them to listen to you, to know that this is really bad, that this is really worrying me, and it's not great for Rob either. It gives me a lot of stress, but the girls are being brilliant. They're really supportive. They're rallying around me, and I'm okay. I'm okay at the moment. I don't want Rob being in hospital for long periods of time, but he needs help.
My name is Stephanie, and I've worked as Rob's CPN for the last 6 to 7 years. Rob is a really pleasant and polite person, and he's been known to mental health services for the last few years. Like I said, I've worked with him for a long time. He has got an established diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder, and he's had a few formal and informal inpatient admissions in the past. Rob needs to have medication in order to maintain his mental well-being. And when he takes his medication, he functions very well. But the issue we have is that Rob gets the idea to come off of medication altogether. And when he does that, he deteriorates very, very quickly. He often complains and thinks that he's on a high dose of medication, when in fact, he's only on a maintenance dose. And for some reason, he really doesn't like the medication. But for Rob, he needs his medication in order to maintain his health. I met with Rob during an appointment about a month ago, and he was okay then. But then I recently got a call from his wife, Tracy, and she was expressing some concerns about Rob, and it sounded to me like he was relapsing. I tried to call him, but he didn't respond. It went onto his answer phone, and I left him a message, and he still hasn't responded. it seemed as if he was disengaging, and that is really not a good sign for Rob. I've had a couple planned visits with him, and he still hadn't engaged. We are trying to work with Rob, but it looks like at this point we need to involve the home treatment team. I've just been to see Rob, and I can see he's holding things together, but his thoughts are really muddled. He's jumping from one topic to the other. You know, we started talking about his well-being, and then he talked about interest rates. Then he went on to the Ukraine war. He's really confused, and I'm going to refer Rob to the crisis team. He really needs some close monitoring as he's showing signs of relapse now. So I'm going to ring the crisis team and start a referral.
This hospital admission. Oh, I can't believe I'm in. I don't like the food. Your cooking's better than that. I'll tell you. That's saying something. I must admit, I'm dying for a fag. I can't get out. They won't let me out. And I've got work. I mean, what's going on with that at the moment? I'm really, really worried about that because I love my job. I want to get on with this. I've got a good boss and you know.
Rob, it's okay. I've spoken to your boss.
Oh.
It's okay, and he's fine about it.
Okay. I'm a bit
Okay,
stressed
so
about
don't
this.
worry about work. Not a problem.
But I want a fag. Can I have a fag?
You don't smoke that much anyway.
But it just settles my nerves.
Well,
Just a
there's
bit
other
worried about. I
things.
don't want to be in hospital. I don't like it. The patients are noisy. I haven't got a clue what's going on, and I just want to get out. Please get me out of here, please. Just, I mean, obviously you know what it's like. I want to be with you lot. I don't want to be a burden to you.
You're not a burden, but this is the best place for you at the moment. You'll be coming home soon. Don't worry. You're all right.
It won't be much longer, Dad.
What about my diabetes? That's what I'm worried about.
Well, the nurse is not looking into it.
I suppose so.
You don't need to worry about that, Dad.
Okay.
You know,
Are you sure?
You're being looked after. It's the best place.
Best place for you at the moment.
They won't let me out. When can I get out?
They will.
When am I going to get out?
When you're better, when you're feeling stronger.
What does that mean?
When you're feeling stronger. Okay?
What, mentally
When you're
stronger?
When you're not as anxious anymore.
Oh,
And
why am
then
I anxious?
But they're going to help you with that, aren't they? That's why you're here.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So while you're here, they'll help you with your anxiety, and then you'll be able to come home.
Are you sure?
I am.
Right.
Okay?
Okay, I believe you. You guys are with me.
Hello, my name's Claire McKenna and I'm the interim chief nurse at East London Foundation Trust, and I just wanted to welcome you to this virtual placement. Stories like Rob's are not unusual, and in his journey he'll touch many services and have contact with many people. It's our responsibility to make sure that Rob and people like Rob get the right care at the right time in the right place. And this will give you an opportunity to go with Rob on his journey and see the different touch points and to see what care, when you bring it all together, looks like. When people receive the right care at the right time and the right place, that means that we can help them and their families and their carers towards recovery. So I hope that you enjoy your journey and take lots of learning from it. Thank you. Bye-bye.